What do you do when a project fails and every reasonable explanation points to someone else? The client changed the brief. Your team missed a deadline. Another department never sent the numbers. Most of us start building a case for why the failure was not really ours. Extreme ownership asks you to do the opposite. Jocko Willink and Leif Babin learned this lesson while leading Navy SEALs in Ramadi, Iraq, where confusion could have deadly consequences. Their message is uncomfortable, but incredibly useful. If you lead, you own the outcome. Not just the parts you personally touched, the whole outcome. That does not mean pretending other people never make mistakes. It means refusing to use their mistakes as an excuse to stop leading. And once you see the difference, the idea becomes much more practical than it first sounds. The title comes from one of the worst moments of Jocko's deployment. During a chaotic operation, friendly forces accidentally fired on one another. A man was killed. Others were wounded. When senior officers arrived to investigate, Jocko prepared a briefing explaining every mistake. Unclear identification, broken communication, poor coordination, bad decisions in several locations. Then he realized something. He was the commander. The responsibility could not be divided into convenient pieces and handed away. So he stood in front of everyone and said, in effect, "This was my fault." Wait a second, wouldn't that destroy a leader's credibility? Strangely, it did the opposite. By owning the failure, he created room to examine it honestly. Nobody had to defend themselves. The team could learn, change procedures, and prevent the same disaster from happening again. Accountability became a tool for improvement, not punishment. Now bring that into ordinary life. Suppose an employee delivers the wrong report. A weak response is, "I explained it. They just didn't listen." Extreme ownership asks better questions. Was the objective clear? Did they understand why it mattered? Did they have enough time, training, and authority? Did you check progress before the deadline? This is not about taking blame for fun. It is about finding the part you can control. Blame feels satisfying for 5 minutes, but it gives your power away. Ownership says, something failed. What can I change so the next attempt works? Think about a problem you are dealing with right now. Are you spending more energy proving who caused it, or improving the system around it? That question is the heart of this book. The person who owns the problem is usually the only person with a real chance of solving it. One of the book's most memorable lessons is called No Bad Teams, Only Bad Leaders. During SEAL training, boat crews raced through punishing surf while carrying heavy inflatable boats. One crew kept losing. The men were frustrated, exhausted, and blaming one another. Their leader appeared to have the worst team in the class. The instructors switched leaders. Almost immediately, the losing crew began performing near the top, while the previously strong crew struggled under weaker direction. Same people, same cold water, same equipment, different leadership. Of course, some teams really do contain difficult or underprepared people. The lesson is not that talent never matters. It is that leaders often underestimate how strongly their standards, attitude, and example shape performance. Before you label a team lazy or incapable, ask, what behavior am I tolerating? What standard am I modeling? And what belief am I spreading? That leads to another principle. A leader has to believe in the mission. People can tell when you are repeating words you do not trust. If the plan feels pointless to you, your uncertainty travels down the chain and turns into hesitation, resentment, or half-hearted execution. But what if you genuinely disagree with the decision? The book does not say, smile and obey. It says you have a responsibility to ask questions until you understand the purpose. Push upward respectfully. Get the context. Explain the risks. Then, once a decision is made, communicate the mission to your team with conviction. Here's the uncomfortable part. Saying management doesn't get it may feel honest, but it leaves your team without direction. If you cannot explain why a plan matters, you probably do not understand it well enough yet. Belief is not blind loyalty. It is clarity earned through questions. Then there is ego. Ego wants credit when things go well and protection when they do not. It makes feedback feel like an attack. It turns a disagreement about the plan into a contest over who looks smarter. Jocko and Leif are not asking leaders to become timid. Confidence matters. Decisiveness matters. But confidence without humility becomes dangerous because it blocks information. The moment a leader needs to be the smartest person in the room, everyone else starts hiding problems. Have you ever watched a meeting where people knew the plan was failing, but nobody wanted to challenge the boss? That silence is expensive. Checking your ego means making it safe for someone to say, "I think we're missing something." It also means being able to answer, "You're right. Let's change it." Strong leadership is not protecting your image. It is protecting the mission from your image. The middle of the book introduces 4 laws of combat. They come from battlefield coordination, but they work surprisingly well in offices, families, and any group trying to accomplish something difficult. The first is cover and move. In simple terms, teams support one another while moving toward the same objective. One group provides cover so another can advance. Then they switch. In a company, sales, operations, product, and customer service often behave like separate tribes. Each one optimizes its own score and quietly complains that the others are slowing it down. But if the company loses, no department has really won. Now ask yourself, which person or team do you treat like an obstacle even though you depend on them? Cover and move means replacing us versus them with "we have one mission." Cooperation is not a favor. It is how the whole team advances. The second law is simple. When pressure rises, people do not become more capable of interpreting a complicated plan. They become less capable. That is why instructions must be clear enough to survive stress, noise, and missing information. Leaders often confuse complexity with intelligence. A 50-slide presentation feels impressive. A plan full of jargon sounds sophisticated. But if the person doing the work cannot explain the goal, the next step, and what to do when things change, the plan is not ready. Here is a useful test. Ask someone to repeat the plan in their own words. Do not ask, "Do you understand?" Most people will say yes. Ask them what success looks like, what could go wrong, and who makes the call if the situation changes. Simple does not mean careless. It means the complexity was handled before execution, not dumped on the team during it. The third law is prioritize and execute. When several problems arrive at once, the instinct is to attack all of them. That usually creates more confusion. The book offers a calmer rhythm. Relax, look around, make a call. Imagine a product launch. The website is failing, customers are complaining, the team is arguing, and an executive wants an update. Everything feels urgent, but only one problem can be the highest priority right now. Maybe it is stopping incorrect payments. Solve or stabilize that. Then reassess and move to the next priority. This sounds obvious when we say it slowly. It is much harder when your heart is racing and every notification is flashing red. That is why leaders practice the habit before the crisis. What is the single problem that, if handled first, would make the rest easier? Name it, communicate it, execute it, then look again. The fourth law is decentralized command. No leader can make every decision, especially when the situation changes faster than information can travel upward. People closest to the problem need authority to act. But decentralization is not everyone do whatever seems right. It depends on something called commander's intent. People understand the purpose, the boundaries, and the desired outcome. Within those limits, they can make decisions without waiting for permission. This is where many organizations get stuck. A manager says, "Take ownership," but still demands approval for every small move. Responsibility goes down, while authority stays at the top. That is not empowerment. It is a trap. Could your team explain the mission without you in the room? Do they know which decisions are theirs? If not, the answer is not tighter control. The answer is clearer intent, better training, and genuine trust. Good execution begins before the action. The book's planning process starts with a clear mission, then works backward. What has to be true for that mission to succeed? What resources are needed? What are the likely risks? What will we do if the first route closes? The strongest plans also include the people who will execute them. When team members help build the plan, they spot practical problems and gain ownership. Afterward, a brief confirms who does what, why it matters, and how teams support one another. And then comes the part many people skip, the debrief. What worked? What failed? What should change next time? No ego, no performance, just learning. Here's something worth noticing. Organizations often repeat the same mistakes not because nobody saw them, but because nobody created a safe, disciplined moment to examine them. A 10-minute honest debrief can save weeks of future frustration. Another powerful chapter is about leading down and leading up the chain of command. Leading down means people at every level understand the larger picture. A frontline employee should know more than the task. They should know how the task connects to the mission. Leading up means taking responsibility for what your boss does not understand. If senior leadership keeps rejecting your request, the easy conclusion is they don't trust us. But have you given them enough information? Have you explained the risk, the reasoning, and the result in a way they can absorb? This does not mean your boss is always right. It means complaining downward about leadership rarely improves anything. Bring context upward. Ask what pressures they are facing. Make it easier for them to make a good decision. Think about that. Ownership applies in both directions. You lead the people who report to you, and you help the people above you lead you better. The book also makes a distinction that can change how you think about discipline. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Done well, discipline creates freedom. A disciplined morning routine reduces decision fatigue. A disciplined process lets a team move quickly without reinventing the basics. Financial discipline gives you more choices later. The structure handles predictable problems so your attention is free for the unpredictable ones. At first, rules can feel restrictive, but imagine a musician who never practices scales or a sports team that refuses to rehearse basic plays. They may feel spontaneous. They will not be free when the pressure arrives. Where in your life are you asking for more freedom without building the discipline that could support it? The point is not to create rules for everything. It is to standardize what should be standard, so people have more room to think where judgment matters. Still, every strength can become a weakness when pushed too far. The final idea is the dichotomy of leadership. Good leaders balance opposing qualities. Be confident, but not arrogant. Be courageous, but not reckless. Be competitive, but also a gracious loser. Be attentive to detail, but do not lose the larger picture. Be humble, but not passive. Be disciplined, but not rigid. Lead, but know when to follow. There is no formula that tells you the perfect balance in every situation. Leadership requires judgment. That is what makes it difficult. Here's the strange part. We often search for one quality that will make us better leaders, when the real challenge is noticing which quality the moment needs from us. Are you holding too tightly, or giving too little direction? Speaking too much, or avoiding the hard conversation? The answer can change from 1 hour to the next. So how do you use extreme ownership without turning every mistake into personal guilt? Start smaller. Pick one recurring frustration. Maybe meetings always run late, customers keep asking the same question, or your family argues about the same responsibility. Instead of asking who is at fault, ask four things. What outcome do I actually want? What part of the current system can I influence? What have I failed to communicate clearly? What will I change before the next attempt? Then apply the 4 laws. Who needs support? Can the plan be simpler? What is the first priority? Who needs authority to act? Notice what happens. Ownership moves you from emotional reaction to useful action. You may still need to hold someone accountable. You may still need a difficult conversation, but you enter that conversation having examined your own leadership first. That changes the tone and often the result. That is why this book has stayed so popular. Its setting is extreme, but its central question is ordinary. When the outcome matters, will you protect your excuse or take responsibility for improving it? The lesson I keep coming back to is simple. Ownership is not carrying the entire world alone. It is refusing to surrender your ability to influence what happens next. Support the team. Keep the plan clear. Choose the first priority. Give people room to act. Ask better questions up the chain. And when something fails, learn before you blame. Now I want to hear from you. Where could taking more ownership improve your work, your relationships, or your daily life? Share your example in the comments, and tell me which book you would like to explore next. This channel turns the world's most valuable books into clear ideas you can understand and use, one book at a time. One book, 10 minutes. Better you.